always plenty of interest in this one, mate.
Yeah, as there should be. Roosters South, it's, 107 years of these games, and there's always feeling we live next door to each other, so it's always interest, which is great.
The return of Latrell's grabbing all of our interest. Does it grab your interest?
As a coach, always. You've got to understand the opponent, it's a good opportunity for some of our guys to play against Latrell in the position, whether it's centre or fullback there, and then obviously, good challenge for the guys, and they're looking forward to it.
Wayne had a press conference this morning. He said that he doesn't want to discourage Latrell from having that red mist. So I expect he'll be fired up.
Yeah, hopefully it turns into a fog, and you want your players. We've always had players that they play on the line, and you want them to go to that line and not over it, and sometimes they do, but that's what makes them unique. So I understand that, and our job's to make sure that ends up in our favour. But that's why we're interested in watching. Yeah.
What's he here for, I suppose, and what sort of pep talk can he offer this week?
Yeah, he talked about the red mist, as we've just mentioned it before. Yeah, he just talked about his journey over here, his love of the Roosters and what it meant to him, the three clubs that he's played for, but the one here at the Roosters, and how it sort of changed his life, and then also the way that he played in the games, the way that he played. He played over 100 games here at the Roosters. He sat out quite a few, and what made him unique. So it was really nice to hear from Moz and the contest. He was the one that sort of stepped forward first, along with some other guys in that team. But we spoke specifically about the 0-2 incident, where it was game on and it was close, and then he's a man of few words, but his actions in that next set sort of set up for the grand final. It could have gone either way, and then. So it was nice to hear those stories again.
Trent, obviously we've seen the NRL came out, speaking of red mist, and talked about just how the refs might take a bit of a different view on officiating high tackles this week and going forward. It's such a big game, this one. There's always so much passion. Do you talk to the boys at all about keeping it in check?
No, I don't. I mean, it was pretty clear last weekend what should have happened, and it didn't. We had one in a trial and then one in the Penrith game, which is exactly the same, and they got sent to the bin. So I don't think it's any change in what's been officiated from the beginning. It's just it should have got enforced last weekend. So I think nothing's changed. It's just getting back to what they started the season with.
So it's more of last week was a bit of a blip on the radar rather than a big problem that's going to be overcorrected.
Definitely. I think they've got to make sure they just go back to where they were before round 4, and I think they mentioned that in the way that they put that across. What is the sin bin rule?
So the player is taken out by category 1 or fails category 2, then the offending player will get sin bin.
I think that's me personally. I don't think that's the case. I think it's then it goes on the susceptibility of the opponent rather than the action of the player. So I do think. We've just got to be good judges on the action of the player, not on the result. If someone's got a really strong jaw and gets a brutal head high, that shouldn't get treated differently because of that reason. So I think it's on the action, not on the result.
What about the news that the South Sydney Rabbitohs are trying to make Allianz their home ground? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh no, I think that's business. I think I understand that. I think they decided to move away from their area. I think being loyal to your area, has served us really, really well. But I understand that Stadia is it's a different beast and it's a business. So can understand that would be on the agenda at some point.
Does it undermine this stadium status as the home ground if the Rabbitohs are playing here as well?
No, I think people rent this ground all the time. It just won't ever be their home.
Do you think Nick will take down the home of the Roosters sign out the front?
I don't think so. I don't think that'll get taken down. It is. It's our home. We've been here since 1908. We haven't left. within a couple of, there's been 5 grounds within, 200 metres, and this has been our home. You don't talk about loyalty, you show it through action, and we've shown that for the history of rugby league. So we understand there's lots of different teams that will play here, and we understand that, but we know what this ground means to us.
Is it Robert Toy who'll be up against Latrell?
Yep. Yep.
How's he embracing this week?
Yeah, he's looking forward to it. He's a young player making his way and getting going, and these are challenges that you look forward to as a young fella. So yeah, it should be good.
Speaking of centres, how's Mark Solasi going? I did hear a whisper that he might play this week.
A whisper. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
So it's not being shot down?
No, it's not being shot down or confirmed.
Or denied?
No.
Trent, you spoke a little bit after the game last week, saying that you created lots of opportunities, but
Yeah.
just passing those was a major issue. What do you need to see from, I guess, everyone, but specifically your 2 halves this week?
No, I think continuing to create the opportunities is key. I think we had enough sort of line breaks and opportunities there, and you're going to have some of those games where it's not going to come off. So not a big change, just a belief in the connection between those guys and taking the opportunities that are in front of them. And yeah, it's not a 2 or 3 guy thing. It's a 13 guy thing, and so we've practiced that this week. But also a belief that we know it'll come off. If we create that many opportunities, we will get across the line more.
Obviously, it's been a big few weeks for Sandon not having Sam Walker next to him. Are you confident that you're still seeing the makings of a long-term half at this club in Sandon?
Definitely. We've been really clear last year and obviously this year, and there's 30, 40, 50 minutes of really good periods, and that's really natural at the amount of time that he's spent in NRL at the moment. And so there's some really good signs that we like, and we're just going to keep forging forward and keep backing him to develop his game.
How much does he factor into your, I guess, recruitment for next year? Obviously, Daly Cherubin's been tied at this club. I know you won't want to speculate too much on it yet, but how much does Sandon's future factor into those conversations?
I think it's been pretty clear, our future with Sandon, and the conversations we've had with him, and over the years, he's been here through the Central Coast system, and he's our starting 6, and we're going to keep developing him.
Although you've coached Latrell, do
Yep.
you see him as a better centre or a fullback?
I see him as an amazing player. I just see him as an incredible player, and he's definitely a fullback. But he was also an amazing centre. Those guys can play in both positions and do the role. So, yeah, I guess I don't see him as a position more than just the way he goes about playing the game.
Is he less of a worry as a centre because he's on one side of the field, or he's fullback, he can pop up anywhere?
Yeah, it's you never want to change how you feel depending on what position they are. There's strengths that we know he'll bring in the centre, and we've worked on that. And then also, if he goes to fullback in a period, we've also really clear on that as well. So there's not a change of emotion around which position he plays. It's just having our tools to nullify and combat that, and also take advantage of some things that we want to do as well. So there's huge respect in both those positions. We've done our work, but then it's that's why I'm looking forward to it. Like, I think the players are, I know they are, but he's one of 13. So I think it's a really good challenge. But I'd like to think that he's going to find it a challenge as well, coming back and playing.
Robert, I'm curious about your thoughts on the origin eligibility debate that we seem to be having at the moment, ironically in the multicultural realm. Do you have any thoughts about, whether we should be changing the tier system, whether, Samoa Tonga should be elevated to Tier 1? Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, it's outside my wheelhouse. If you want to talk about France, we'll talk about France and any test matches. But it shouldn't be for me to dip my toe in there.
Although you mentioned the red mist and all that before, Spencer Leniu last game, there's been a bit of commentary. Do you sort of have to tell him to tone it down a bit, or are you confident just let him get out there and play the way he plays?
No, let him play. There's again, there's guys have had to coach those guys before that are on the edge and find their way, and there's no sitting down in an office and talking to them about how to regulate that. You know, the more games they play, the more they experience there, they'll know what's right and wrong, but you want them to push it as well. You know, if someone's talking about him, then he's had an effect, and I want him to continue to do that. 150, yeah. Yep. Oh, he's such a, I just said before, he brings so much energy when he walks in the doors. You know, he's played 150 games. I think he might be mid-80s with the Roosters, but he's affected more days than 85 for this club, and he brings such a joy and an energy, and then also a life off the field as well. So, yeah, we've been really lucky to have a second coming of Connor there. It's you know, it started with, you know, as a utility, and he won us a nines tournament in 2017 with his energy and player of the series, and then he's come back a really mature player and a special player for us. So yeah, it's nice to tick off 150, and he's had some setbacks and he could have been lost to the game in the Southern Hemisphere. He was about to go up north, but I'm so glad he's here.